is I think China racism, I think, is gonna grow a little bit more from this point on.
What do you mean by China racism?
Just because
Anti-China sentiment.
anti-China sentiment. Just because you guys remember like Japan, when Japan was like super strong, right? And like Americans hated Japanese people, man, just because like I think it was back in the 80s, right? When Japan was almost like a superpower, right? Like Toyota was like...
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about like World War II.
Oh, no,
okay.
I'm not talking about
like
World War
80s.
II.
Like,
no, I'm talking about the industrial age.
The economical, right?
Yeah, economical,
economic
where like Toyota factories were like forcing U.S. factories to close down.
Yep.
Because a lot of U.S. car makers...
And then they thought like Japanese were taking away their jobs, you know?
Yeah. And there was like a very heavy anti-Japanese sentiment in the 80s, right? And I think it's kind of like what's happening now, right? It's Chinese people are getting stronger, and
China's threatening America.
Yeah, and I think people who are holding like, especially the industrial jobs, or the more like low level jobs, the building jobs, right? They're getting threatened. They feel threatened by us, right?
Sure.
Right,
sure.
Like they think we're stealing their jobs.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons why Trump has so much support behind him, is because of that kind of sentiment, right? Like that's part of it. That's part of a much larger thing. Obviously, that's one small thing in it, but I think that's one of the reasons. And I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I've harped on this, you know, for a long time, that, you know, we are in the midst of a legitimate Cold War between the United States and China. So everything, like, once something gets framed politically in that context, and there is that kind of dynamic between, like, let's say two superpowers, that's going to have a trickle down effect to a lot of people and their mentality, right? Because they don't know any better, so they're going to listen to the media and listen to all the fear mongering, and, you know, China's taking away our jobs, China's here to take over, you know, anti-communism, all this, you know, all this stuff. And so naturally there's going to be a sentiment. And on the other side, China is coming up, and the young people in China are becoming much more nationalistic in terms of national pride. Yeah. So the reverse effect they're going to have on them in terms of, like, you know, they're going to be very proud to be Chinese, very proud of China, and any kind of attack on China, they're going to be very defensive about, right? So that's clearly going to lead to some sort of conflict. Now, where that conflict goes, who knows? But it's there is that tension, and there is going to be that conflict. We just don't know the degree and magnitude of that conflict.
Yeah.
But we see signs of it with the trade wars and everything. And
this kind of goes back to maybe like the kids these days, right? I think maybe they still get bullied, but I think maybe Chinese kids stand up for themselves more than us, more than our generation.